Welcome to Higher Houses, our podcast about bridging global cultures, celebrating the good and the bad, milestones, and growing together.
We're back, baby.
Yeah, we are. We keep coming back.
We keep coming back, whether or not you want us to, but we're here. We love it. So, following on from two pretty intense discussions, we thought we're South African, we're living in the UK. Let's do something a bit lighthearted and talk shit, because that's what we do, but really kind of compare the UK to South Africa. Are there South Africanisms that you're still kind of using in your day-to-day life, or are there Britishisms? Is that a word? We don't think so. Britishisms that you're using that you've kind of picked up. But before we do that, let's get into the highs and lows of this week. What's your high been? What's your high been of the week?
So my high would be, well, I don't know if you can see, but
yes, the hair is hairing today again.
I got a new haircut.
Yeah, girl.
So I'm feeling very chuffed about that. So, which also brings me to my low, because apparently my dad saw a picture of it and he's like, I think it's too short.
Well, I love it. I think it's stunning. I think the short hair suits you. I think the short hair is great for summer. That's when I cut my hair last year, when I was just like, I'm going short of summer. So
yeah,
I love
exactly.
it.
You're just like not bothered to have long hair.
Love it.
And so I feel a lot fresher.
Nice.
Much better human being. How about you? Any highs and lows?
So high of the week, I went to such a stunning restaurant. Saw a friend of mine, hadn't seen her in a really long time. So it was a place in Shoreditch, which is way too trendy for me. Like, I just feel the minute I walk in, I'm like, what are you doing here, Cara? Like, you are not trendy enough to be going for dinner in Shoreditch. But whatever, it was stunning. Tapas restaurant, flatbreads, baba ganoush, mushrooms. It was 10 out of 10. Also hadn't seen her, so yeah, we had a lovely night. Thankfully, we both decided to call it and be adults, because it was one of those, you know, when you have you're like one drink away from it, you getting home. Exactly, at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. But no, very well behaved. Got home like reasonable hour, which is good. Lows. Okay, so low, and I kind of briefly mentioned it, but M&S are not selling the Merry Munch mix in like the refill packets. You can only buy it with a tin,
the full tin, and
I don't
need another tin.
I don't need another tin, but I want to send it back to South Africa for my sister, and she's already got a tin. So I'm like, we know M&S has obviously been in the news because of the hack and stuff. So it's like, M&S,
I'll keep an eye out for you.
Please keep an eye out for me
if I do come across
any
packet of Merry Munch, because my goodness, is Merry Munch delightful.
It's so good. It's sweety, it's salty, it's crunchy.
And it doesn't last.
So yeah, so that's my low.
Nice. And any recommendations or something that's been living rent-free in your head?
Yes. So, you convinced me to sign up for 21K in September.
I did.
Okay.
I'm a good friend.
You're a good friend. Which is fine. I'm like, let's do it. So, I've obviously started this running program. And something that I'm starting to notice and really starting to irk me is, there's a path, and I'm talking about like the Thames path, which is a good, would you say like 3 meters kind of wide?
Probably even say more in some
spaces. And it's happened to me literally on 3 occasions where runners, and it's just me on the path. Okay, it's just me. And runners are coming up behind me, but literally running so close that we're almost touching. Why do runners do that? I can literally feel them breathing. Why? There is an entire 3 meter wide path. Why are you running so close to me that you're literally touching me? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Is this a running thing? Like, runners, is this a thing? Because I don't understand it.
I'm a little bit concerned about this because I've never experienced that.
Well, maybe it's the Richmond runners.
Maybe it is the Richmond runners. Are they coming to pass you, or they're just
running past me? So I'm running. So I'm literally running. So here's Cara going on at a 8.5 minute or whatever it is, slow pace, and then there's an entire open path, and people are literally running like this.
Oh, that's so annoying.
What are you doing? It's happened to me 3 times in the last 3 weeks, which I think is quite a bit. Like, it's a lot.
So that's the same runner who does it every single time.
Well, it's been two women and 1 guy, and it's just the weirdest thing, because I almost get a fright. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you so close? There's a different story if there's dogs and cyclists. I get that.
It's like a busy pathway.
What is this? Why? So that's been living rent free in my head. And as a runner, I mean, you've been running a lot longer than me. I want to know, is this a normal thing? Because I don't understand it.
Maybe I'm just so conditioned already that I think it's normal. Now I'm trying to think if I do it.
Honestly.
But I'm probably not doing it because I'm
Okay.
not passing anyone.
Okay, fine.
People are passing me.
What's been living in your head rent free?
So we have started watching Friends and Neighbours. I don't know if you've started.
Friends and Neighbours.
It's
What's
on
that on?
Apple TV.
Haven't watched it.
And it's got John Hamm in it. It
Ooh,
is
I love-
so good. It's got Amanda Peet in.
Black Amanda Peet.
And yeah, it's just really good.
Story, like overview, like give us a...
basically, this guy has this like investment banker kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he loses his job. And he's obviously really wealthy, lives in this big fancy area where they all go to the golf club.
Oh, yeah,
and,
yeah.
you
Like
know,
typical upper class white suburbia.
exactly,
in America,
fancy
yeah.
cars and stuff, but like super wealthy. Anyway, loses his job, and also about like 2 years before he got divorced. So he's divorced, he's got like kids, loses his job, and then now he has to make money. And he starts robbing his neighbors.
Yes,
And
I
it's
love
just
that.
a complete disaster. So it's good, entertaining, Taily.
I'm impressed because you guys never normally, you're not like a series. Like me and John are always like, have you seen the series? Like we watch all of the series, but if you guys like it, then it must be really good. Because I feel like you're quite picky on like the
We're
types of
quite
series.
selective.
You're like quite select. Like me and John are like, oh, okay, watch this.
No, I mean, you guys are much better because you actually do watch other things.
We do.
But we end up watching just the same thing over and over again.
Okay.
So we're expanding our horizons. Apple TV is pretty good, I must say, since we signed up.
We go through, we're on now at the moment, so we like cancel stuff because otherwise it
Yes,
just gets too
yeah, you
expensive.
can't
Like
have
you can't have
all.
everything. So we're on now because we're busy watching. Obviously, we finished White Lotus and we're watching The Last of Us season 2. It's based on the video game. It's good, but there's a lot of like I'm not a zombie. You know what I mean? Like it's zombie end of the world. It's like there's like this parasite virus that infects humans, and it's about the last
Sounds like
people.
life.
Yeah, it literally does. It's these people have created this world that they live in, but they've always got to watch out for the infected, and there's other groups that are trying to get into the world. Anyway, it's based on a video game, so we're watching that. But I think when that's done, we'll go back to Apple TV.
Yeah.
like kind of cancel
Find
now.
something else on.
Good. Okay. Nice recommendation. Right. So I mentioned on it before, well, touched on it before we got into the highs and lows. I would say we're pretty much fully integrated in the UK. I mean, we've been here for 4.5 years. You guys have been here for?
For 5
5.
years?
Okay. Fully integrated. I still get surprised very, very often how there are certain similarities, which I think I find quite similar between, living in the UK and living in South Africa, but there are massive, massive differences. Like
Yeah.
huge differences. What are kind of some of the things that you've really noticed between the UK and South Africa?
Well, I mean, obviously we have been here for 5 odd years already, and you may remember in a previous episode we mentioned that we actually had never been to London before moving here.
Yes, I remember
So
that.
fresh off the boat kind of thing,
Literally bridge of the boat.
straight into this kind of like eyes completely wide open, being like shocked at all that London has to offer. And there are certainly things that you have to get used to.
Yeah.
Like using public transport, for example.
Yeah, that was.
And
I'm going to stop you there. You land, right? So
Yeah.
you land, Blaine's already here.
he was already here. He was actually went to watch football the morning. Why was there football on in the morning? I can't remember why there was football, but he went to watch football in the morning. And so he was actually late to pick me up at the airport.
He's like, there was one job.
He had
You
one job
had
that day.
One job.
And he was late.
You had one job, Blaine. One job.
But yeah, he did meet me with a Costa.
Okay,
Which he
okay.
redeemed himself very quickly.
Fair enough.
And then we took the tube.
So, what Darren's first time on the tube? Were you just like, bing?
I think it was a very typical... When did I land? I think it was
'Cause
like
it's also
April-ish.
Okay, so not the worst weather.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's starting to warm up already. And it was a very typical English day. It
Okay.
was cloudy, like very low clouds.
Yeah.
Not like sun was barely shining. So it was very grey and dull. And we were on this tube. And also, like, to be fair, the journey from the airport to like city centre is not always like the prettiest journey in the world.
No, it's not gonna be. What? Because he would have been in Canary Wharf at that stage, hey?
Yes. No, not Canary Wharf, city centre.
City centre. Okay. I don't know what you for Heathrow. Would you take like maybe the Piccadilly line?
I think we were on the Piccadilly
Yeah,
line,
you would. Yeah, and then that's not the great, and that's like not the greatest line at all in terms of ranking of lines. Like
Exactly.
Piccadilly's, it's not low. It's not the lowest, but it's not the highest.
My very first thought was, where have we moved? But by the end of that day, the sun was shining already,
Yeah.
and we went to Tower Bridge.
Oh, okay, stunning.
So
yeah.
the one that everyone calls London Bridge is actually Tower Bridge.
Yeah.
And it is still my favorite bridge ever because it's just so beautiful.
It is. That's one of my favorite bridges.
It's just
one
stunning.
of my favorite bridges.
And then I was like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
This
you're
is
like-
good. I like this.
You were telling me you guys had never been.
Yes,
You'd
yeah.
never been, yeah. And I interjected with a question, so
Yeah,
carry on.
Sorry.
Carry on.
I think the two biggest things is public transport and the fact that you walk around everywhere.
Yeah.
The amount of walking that we do is crazy. I've hurt my knee a little bit with the running, and it's quite difficult to not walk places.
Yeah. You walk everywhere.
You walk to the shop, you walk to the bus stop, you walk to the train station.
When you go out at night, no,
Yeah.
you're not driving. You're not driving at night. You're using the public transport. But even when you are in the public transport, you're walking up the stairs. You're walking to the platform.
Exactly.
Then you're having to change the platform.
Yeah. So it's actually, I mean, that is an important thing to note, is it's not the most accessible city in the world.
London's not that accessible to people that have difficulties walking or slow walkers. I mean, invest in shoes. Something that I've learned, invest in walking shoes, and your outfit will actually be based around your shoes. Do you know what I mean? Because you think, okay, I'm going out today, we're going to be walking. Should I wear those pretty slides? No, don't wear them.
No.
Wear the Birkies.
Exactly.
You know?
I mean, that does bring
So
me to another thing. Sorry,
invest
I'm
in the shoes.
interrupting here.
Interrupt.
But have you noticed that they don't show their toes here?
No.
They like a closed shoe.
But you know, I feel weird. This is going to sound so strange, but if I'm in central London, I don't like showing my toes. So I get it.
It's
It's
weird.
so weird. I think it's for me, it's a dirt thing because my feet are going to get really dirty because London, let's be honest, the foot traffic, it's dirty. You know what I mean? For me, it's definitely a dirt thing. I don't know for anyone else what it is. Invest in shoes. So I think biggest comparison, like invest in trainers that you're going to wear out or whatever your shoe is, but you need to be able to walk in the shoe and it must be comfy and it must go with your outfit.
Exactly. So a good pair of trainers.
Yeah.
That can go with lots of different things. I do agree.
Yeah.
What about anything else that immediately stood out to you?
I'll never forget this. So before we moved, we'd been here like twice. So our first trip was in 2018 and we were staying with John's his older school friend. And it was a couple of days. We were doing quite a lot of traveling, whatever, and I'll never forget we went to the Sainsbury's. We went to pick up some things and unpack the basket, and no one packs my groceries away. I was like, why is no one unpacking my groceries away? I was like, I'm confused. I was like, I need to do it. And I just remembered that was like, whoa. I remember going back to South Africa, I was like, guys, they don't have people packing their groceries.
It is quite funny because when I go back to South Africa,
I
start packing my own groceries.
I'm like, no, it's fine, I've got this. And they're like, no, that is our job. But then that also, if you think of your shopping experience in South Africa and it's different because here's a lot more high street shopping where you're walking, obviously, following back to what you're saying, you're walking everywhere. In South Africa, you're driving to a mall, right? So you're driving to a mall and you're going through and then there's a lovely man or woman that's going to show you to your parking. And they're going to say,
He has a
it's
parking for you.
and then they're going to say, don't you worry, I'm going to watch your car. Then you're going to go up, you are going to have another lovely human that's maybe standing at the front of a shop giving you a basket or giving you a trolley. So you're being treated here. You know what I mean? It is a treat. It is an experience.
It is an experience. It's a full service
It's a
experience.
full service because you are unpacking your groceries, but then somebody's packing them away. And then when you're going back to your car, somebody's offering to push a trolley.
Yep.
And then they're helping you unpack and they're going to help you close your boot. And then they're going to help
off you
you.
go.
And then off you go. I mean, this is a full-on service.
Whereas over here,
What are you getting?
You need to pick up your own basket.
Yeah, pick up your own basket.
You need to scan your own shopping.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that was a nightmare.
How long did it take you for you to try a self-service checkout at a supermarket?
I was confident. I went in with confidence. I was like, I'm going to do this. Naturally, me and John got into an argument because I was trying to do it. He was trying to do it. I think we obviously just moved here, just going to like our local Tesco's or whatever. And he was scanning, and I was like, you're not scanning it right. And then it's beep, beep, and you're going to call the assistant, and this assistant comes, and you're like, oh my goodness. Like, again, what are you doing? This is your job. Like, not happy at all. And it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare.
Well, we just avoided it for,
Did you?
I'd say, 2 months.
You were like, am I doing it?
We just always go
When
to
did
the actual cashier.
What made you decide to be like, I'm doing this?
I think it was probably just a really long queue.
Yeah, and you were
We
like,
were
can't
I'm
be
not
asked.
waiting for this. I'm going to go do this. But even now, you start to get to know some shops have better checkouts than others. So
Yes.
like M&S sometimes not as quick to scan.
Their
Then
stuff's
they scan-
glitchy.
yeah.
Yeah. But it's new. It's new machines.
But I do think it's getting better. Always like Sainsbury's. So
Sainsbury's,
nice and easy
yeah,
to
that's
scan
quick.
everything. And then obviously the other thing is the constant like getting carded for ID. And then you don't have ID on you and you can't buy your bottle of wine.
Because doesn't it say you have to be visibly over the age of 25?
Yes. But I think we are visibly over the age of 20.
Well, I will have you know, a couple of years back when we were still in Clapham, you know that Sainsbury's that was on the corner?
Yes.
I used to get carded every single time I bought wine. Every single time. And I was like, surely.
You know me by
Like,
now.
you know me by now. And luckily, I had a photo of my passport or something on my phone, and then they show. But some of them will, and they won't sell it to you. They're like, sorry.
Yep.
But then how do we have 16-year-olds vaping?
Oh, I think they just got an off license.
They probably got an off license. Well, that kind of...
An off license.
an off license. Okay. So wherever you live, okay, so this is another thing that I've kind of found. Wherever you live in the UK, you will have an off license. An off license will sell everything.
Everything. You could do your shopping there.
You could literally do your grocery shopping there.
I
okay?
wouldn't,
I
but
wouldn't, but
It's
it
very
would.
expensive.
They have cream eggs in December, so you don't even know how old those cream eggs are. But they've got them if you fancy a cream egg. There will always be an off license. There will always be an Indian or a Chinese restaurant.
Yes.
Either Indian or Chinese.
Pretty much every single high street has all of these
There will
staples.
be. Exactly. There will be an Indian, there will be a Chinese. Depending on your area, there might be a KFC. There might be a KFC or McDonald's.
I mean, my area doesn't.
Oh, Teddington doesn't, but Richmond does. Okay. There will be some form of
Yes.
fast. So always be the off license. That stays open like
Almost 24 hours.
almost 24 hours. Some Indian, either local Indian or Chinese.
Fast food.
Maybe a fast food. And the pub.
And the pub.
There will be a pub.
At least one pub.
Minimum of one.
Yeah.
We have two right next to each other.
Yeah. Right next to each other. They're not even
Literally,
trying.
they're not even trying. And you know what the thing is, we always go to the one. We've been to the other one like once or twice, and it's just not, I don't know.
just
There's a
not as
vibe.
good.
It's not a
Yeah.
vibe. Where I think in like the flip side of South Africa, because you're driving everywhere, right? This is all like here. It's all about convenience. It's so easy for you to walk there, get something, and that's why the off licenses are so great. Because if you have forgotten anything, chances are they will have it.
Exactly. Well, I was actually chatting to a friend the other day, and they were saying, oh, if they move, they're going to be a little bit further away from their gym. So it's going to be quite inconvenient, you know? And I was like, in South Africa, you would just get in your car and drive. In fact, sometimes you would pass one gym because that's not your favorite
Gym, and you'd go to
and you go to the further one.
Well, especially if you're in Virgin Active, because you know
Yeah.
Virgin Active, you could go whatever. But I would never, when we were in Cape Town, I would never go to the Virgin Active closer to me. I'm like, no, I'm going to the other one because I like it. It's bigger. And when we were looking to move into this house specifically, there were a couple of like criteria. It had to be walking distance to the station because we
That
didn't
is
have a car.
A good criteria, yeah.
Because think of your car as well. You're using it to do your big grocery shopping, or you're going away with it. You're not driving to work.
No.
You're not driving to work. So you have to be walking distance to the train station. Also got to think, can't be, because walking distance could be 2 kilometers. That's still walking distance. But then you've got to think, am I going to be walking 2Ks in the rain and the pitch black?
Yeah.
There had to be a pub close to us.
Yeah, a good pub.
A good pub, a decent pub. And there had to be a little local Tesco's or Sainsbury's. So just in case, if I'm busy cooking dinner and it's 7 o'clock, I need, I don't know, a bottle of tomato sauce, I could run out. And those are like the 3 things that are the most important. In South Africa, it's size, 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 how many bedrooms, and location. Do you know what I mean?
How big is the garden?
How big is... Jeez. How big is the garden? That was always a key thing. Does it have a swimming pool?
Oh, I do like a swimming pool.
Do you like a swimming pool?
Would be totally impractical.
Oh my gosh.
Pool, yeah.
We really need one. But hey, how true is that?
Really
How
is.
like your
priorities when choosing a house so different.
so different.
Because it's just a completely different world.
When you guys obviously first got here, I know you lived in that apartment. I think Blaine's. It was like Blaine's like work service
Yeah, it was
apartment.
like a service apartment.
It's a service
yeah.
apartment. When you were looking for houses, what was like your initial thought? Were you like, oh my gosh, it's so small, like how are we gonna fit everything? You know what I mean? Were you still very much thinking like a South African way, because that's how we always thought about houses.
Yeah. I think the difference was that you guys, when you guys moved, you brought stuff from South Africa with
Yes.
you. We had our suitcases and that was it. We
Okay.
had nothing. So we boxed everything up
Yeah.
for something that we could potentially bring over later. And we did do a shipment
Okay.
at a later stage. But at the time when we first got here, we had nothing. We didn't even have a plate. So
Jeez,
moved into the
you-
service department for a couple of weeks. And then we moved into a studio.
Okay. Wow. Like, how different was it for you?
I mean, it was basically like a room in our previous house. But I've got very, very fond memories of living in
Yeah,
that
you
studio.
see. Okay.
And we had very strict rules. So, for example, we were only allowed to sit on the bed to watch TV on
Okay.
weekends. During the week, we had to sit on the couch and watch TV.
But you have to.
And we had
your
to
whole
eat
like.
at the dining room table.
Yes, I love that.
So it was the only way to make it work is we almost like subdivided our
In your,
tiny
but in your
studio.
mind,
In
it
our
was.
minds, yeah. And we both work from home from that studio.
Jeez, that's impressive.
One of us used to go to the cupboard,
But it just
and
shows
the other one
you.
used to sit at the desk when we were on calls.
But it just shows you you don't need a lot of space.
No.
You categorically, it's nice to have space when you come. I mean, geez, when you come from that
Storage space is the
storage
biggest
space.
thing.
Oh my gosh, storage space.
But
Like,
I don't think anywhere in the world there is enough storage space.
in South Africa, there is.
Well, we think that.
Well, we think that.
But my mum literally said to me this morning, yeah, we're going to go to the storeroom today to go get some stuff.
What are they putting in the storeroom?
Exactly. They've got a full storeroom that, like at one of those.
I remember when my mom's old house, where her and my dad lived, their garage, there was just stuff everywhere. And then they still had a shed. But
Oh,
like this,
stuff.
the shed was the size of this room. Like, it was huge. I think something that's very different is here, I've noticed how you don't need a lot of stuff to get by. You
No.
you really, really don't need a lot of stuff. And I think of all the stuff, you just have stuff for the sake of having it, but you don't need it. When in South Africa, you're just like, oh, think of all the Mr. Price home.
Yeah.
At home.
Oh, at home.
At home, stunning. But you just buy stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Whereas here, every time you see another vase, you have to do the, do I
Do I
really need this
Is there a-
vase?
where am I
going to store this
Physically,
vase?
do I have a space in my kitchen cupboard to put this vase? If I don't, you don't buy it.
Exactly.
Like, there's no point. You know what I mean?
So, little change of topic here.
Yes.
What are your feelings generally towards going to a braai in the UK?
Okay, so we know in South Africa when we braai, and how many braais? Look, I haven't been to, because obviously the first episode, as we all know, me and you only really became friends since we've moved here.
Yes, yeah.
So
we never went to a braai.
we've
together.
never been to a braai together. I have, however, been to a braai with your husband.
Ah,
And you know what time? So this is a braai, right? So braai is either afternoon or it's lunch, kind of late lunch, early dinner. The braai was lit at 12 o'clock that night.
well, it's classic. No gaan ons braai.
No gaan ons braai. But we're not
It's
no
not
gaan ons
now.
braai.
No.
Ons no gaan ons drink.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know, it's like a braai. It's almost like people are like, no, you must come for a braai on Saturday, but code word for we're not gonna eat, we're just gonna drink. We're literally
And
gonna
then
drink.
they're gonna light the fire only at, as you say, midnight.
We're gonna
After drinking.
after drinking, when everyone's starved, there's gonna be a chip. There's gonna be
Dip.
a dip. It's gonna be a little cheese plate. And then at the end, you know what I'm picturing in my mind? You know, like when those brides have gone on for the whole night and the dip is like then it's congealed and the potato chips are like wet because they've been sitting outside and everyone's huddling around the bride like 12 o'clock and you're like...
Why do the chips always get wet?
They always get wet. I've got this thing in my brain. I can picture it.
Dip.
This awful dip, like it's sitting, and it's the braai has been lit, and it's like 12 o'clock, and now the chips are fucking stale because no one's lit the braai. Why? And it's always like, and then don't you find there's always an argument, right? There's always an argument between you and the partner.
Yeah, so whoever's braaiing.
When are you lighting the fire?
Oh, come, my potatoes have been ready for the past 5 hours.
My God.
My controversial opinion of a braai.
Yes.
My controversial opinion about a braai or a barbecue is that
why do we do this?
why do we do it to ourselves? Because I know it's a lot of fun and like
just call it what it is. It's not a braai. It's just come round and drink.
Yes, exactly. And also, I find that the guys do the braaiing, which takes approximately 30 minutes.
Literally.
But all the prep work, the salads that need to get made, the bread
potatoes
that needs to be warmed, the potato,
the dishes.
the dishes,
The dishes. Oh my gosh.
all of that stuff is us.
And then we must thank them for the braai.
And then we thank them for the braai.
Or then you get people that were at the braai. Thank you so much.
Oh, such a nice braai. You did such a good
She-
job.
yes,
Thank
you
you so
braai.
much. I mean, we still braai.
Oh, we still braai.
And it's very-
different here though.
Very essential to our lives.
It
but
is.
It is a lot of work.
No, it's a lot of work. We went to an English friend of ours. When the braai starts at 12:30, you will be eating at 1. Okay. Lunch is lunch. Dinner is dinner.
Those are two separate events.
They are two separate events. You will still have a braai and you will still have dinner. Okay? Because we've invited you for a braai lunch. So we get there for 12:30 because that's the time. And literally by 1:15 we were eating. And we were like, okay.
And then by 3 o'clock you're gone.
And by 3 o'clock we're gone. And we're like, this is... Because they had other stuff to do. And it's like, totally fine. But my South African brain was not computing this because I couldn't understand, like, what do you mean we're actually eating at a braai and we're actually eating lunch?
Yeah.
Like, it was the strangest thing. But also, I think that's just also going out to eat in general, though, as well. Like, we've been on a couple of kind of dinner dates with people that are not necessarily in our friend circle.
Fringe friends.
Our fringe friends, exactly. And literally, okay, so we go... Everyone's looking at the menu and you're ordering your drinks and you're ordering your dinner. You're ordering like starter, main, potentially dessert, or you're like, no, starter and main, all at the same time.
Yep. And then you eat your food and then you go your separate ways.
But
it's very efficient.
it's very efficient. You know, in South Africa, you sit, like, let's
Yes.
say, you know, going for dinner. 2 bottles of wine easily have been drunk before you've even looked at the
At the
menu.
menu.
You haven't
Yeah.
even like thought of food. We're here, but also don't you find that the staff kind of rush you here?
Yes. So I think that is the big difference.
Yeah.
Is when you go to a restaurant here, it's very much, right, you sat down, you've now got your hour and a half at your table, so we expect you to only use the hour and a half at the table.
Yes.
Whereas in South Africa, you sit in, you know,
Yeah.
you've arrived.
You're here. You're here for a time.
Exactly.
But I think it's also because here tipping is not a big thing. I don't know if you've noticed that. Like 12,
It's added to your bill.
it's added to your bill, but that's going to be standard.
Yeah.
So whether or not you get great service or horrific service,
Like-
everyone's getting the tip. In South Africa, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Think about how many times you've had such a good meal and you're like, oh, service is great. We're going to give this person 30% or whatever it
Yeah.
is. I mean, not 30% because, you know, expense, but you know what I mean.
But sometimes they are deserving of the 30% tip.
Totally, 100%. Even here, if we've gotten really, really good service, we always, even if we just give a bit more, but the service here, the tip here is kind of spread across.
Yeah, it's
Everyone.
also spread amongst
Everyone.
the chefs and the runners and the waiters and waitresses.
Yeah.
Everyone.
So funny. That Braai story killed me off.
I've got a story about going to a braai that is just so ridiculous. So we just sort of recently moved over.
Yeah.
And I'd been in touch with a very extended family friend.
Yeah.
And so he's South African, has been in the UK since he was like 18. And we think he invited us to his 40th. Which is quite a big birthday to invite a complete stranger, basically. To.
Yeah, totally.
So we go to this braai, and they were so lovely, very welcoming, try to include us as much as possible. But they literally lit the fire, and within like 5 minutes, the meat was on the fire. So, there was no like waiting for the fire to cool down or anything like that. The fire was on.
With the burgers and hot dogs.
So there were lots of sausages.
Okay.
But they actually had some boerewors as well.
Okay,
They really
nice.
went to effort. And then they had some lamb chops.
Okay, that's diverse.
So they take the lamb chops off the braai, and the one lamb chop was literally still on fire.
No.
And they put it on the tray, and I'm sort of looking at it and staring at this lamb chop on fire. And I didn't know what to do. And then eventually somebody comes and they're just like blew out the lamb chop. But it was charred. It was barely a lamb chop left.
No, it's so bad.
So,
but you have to eat it.
I didn't eat that lamb chop.
Did somebody eat the lamb chop?
No.
Oh no.
But I think there are some key differences to how barbecues are executed.
Yeah. Have you picked up on any Britishisms? What do we say?
Britishisms?
Britishisms. What do you think's changed? Like, how have you changed in the last kind of 4 years? Not
emotionally.
Not emotionally, but just like service level.
I think I still struggle with a couple of words.
Yeah.
So I still say to people, oh my gosh, you got such nice pants on.
Trousers.
They think I'm talking about their underwear, which is quite weird because I can't see their underwear, hopefully.
Well, unless, black underwear with white trousers.
Exactly. Maybe that's what they're suddenly thinking. And they're trousers. And also, they don't call them stockings here. They call them leggings.
Do they?
Yeah. So I say stockings all the time. They're like, that's for like old people.
Yes.
I think compression socks, basically.
That's what they call stockings.
Yeah. Whereas they call them leggings. So,
and jacket.
I use jacket. And jersey.
No, jacket is a coat. Jacket is like a jacket potato. It's in its jacket. It's a coat. Jersey is a cardigan.
Or a jumper.
Depending. And what's a hoodie? Pullover.
A pullover, yeah.
It's a pullover. Robot.
Traffic
light.
And roundabout, not a circle.
Roundabout, circle.
They also don't know how to use stop streets in this country. There are no stop streets. I haven't found a single stop street.
There are no stop streets. There's just a lot of roundabouts.
Yes.
They love a roundabout, yeah.
The other day, there was a traffic light that wasn't working.
Yeah, okay, well done.
So
I was like, traffic light? What's that?
A robot that wasn't working. And they had to block off the road because people don't know how to use a four-way stop. So they literally had to block the one way because people would just go.
No.
So they
but if it's not a rule,
do
you know what it is?
A four-way stop when a traffic light doesn't work.
But it's a rule thing.
Yeah.
It is a rule thing. That's one thing we actually didn't say. We didn't talk about queues.
Oh, yes, the queues. They do love a queue.
Let me tell you, I have learned to be a master queuer. I am pretty good at queuing. And I'll queue for anything. And I don't mind queuing anymore. I'm kind of like, oh no, I'll just stand here and queue. Because depending on where you queue, you can drink in public here, obviously. Obviously. Like, it's weird going back to South Africa now and not drinking in public.
When in South Africa do you have an occasion to drink in public?
A couple of years back, we were actually going to Ireland. We were flying to Ireland on Christmas Day. So we had a Christmas thing with Adi and Vaughan. And we went down to the beach. Secluded place. Literally, we had a bottle of champagne and 2 beers. And cheers, Bob. What happens? They come and they took away our champagne. They took it away. They took the champagne. It was like a beautiful, like Simonsich Reserve. We were so upset. But here, so going back to queuing. Let's say you're queuing for a restaurant. Chances are there's a pub. You can get a takeaway beer. So I don't mind a queue. Must tell you a very funny story about this a queuing experience I had. So at a restaurant, it's like a pizza restaurant. A pizza restaurant that's run from a pub called Crisp Pizza. And it's pretty viral. And it's quite complicated on how you've got to book your dough. You can't book a place. You can't book a table. You can't book a table, but you can book a pizza. And then you have to queue whatever. So now me and John don't know this. So this was last summer. Yeah, it was last summer. Anyway, we don't know. We're just like, you know what, there's two of us. We're going to wing it. It's all over Instagram. Let's go. So beautiful day, and we can see they're kind of, so everyone's sitting outside. We can see that there is a bit of a queue forming, but we also like, maybe there's no table, so people are just kind of standing, having drinks in the road. Fine. So standing around, and lo and behold, there's a table. So Cara's like, babe, I'm going to grab this table. So I go and sit down, and I start getting these really strange looks. I'm like, why?
Why is everyone looking?
Why is everyone looking at me? And one of the waiters comes up, and they're like, oh, are you going to be eating with us today, or just having a drink? And I'm like, oh, we might eat, but we're probably just going to have a sit and have a couple of drinks. Meanwhile, I'd literally pushed in. There was like 30 people waiting for a table. The best part is we sit there and we finish our drinks, and then I'm like, everyone's looking at me really strangely, but I'm not eating. And John got inside and found out about the pizza, and they're like, no, well, they've stopped taking orders now. They're only going to take orders in our time. So I'm like, oh, that's fine. We've got a wonderful table in the sun. I'd literally completely just jumped the queue.
So how did you exit? What was your exit strategy?
So awkward. I literally sat there. I was like almost done with my drink, and I was like, love, I think this is the queue.
What,
and then we got up.
Look like, is it a formal queue, or do you have a ticket?
No, there's no ticket. There's just so you've got your tables and chairs like here, and then there's just people that are kind of standing here. But you know what it's like? Like if a pub overspills, it's so normal. People are standing outside. And then other people were kind of coming, and they were going to stand at the back, and that's when I started looking. I was like, oh, there's a queue. There is a queue. I was so embarrassed. I literally got up, and we just took our drinks, and like we went to go sit on the other side. I was
just like ran away.
I was like, no, I cannot deal.
Needless to say, you're never going back to Crisp.
No, I'm never going back to Crisp. Do you think your accent's changed?
Yeah, it depends what situation I'm in. I think my work voice is different.
Yes, mine too.
I've got a work voice.
I totally have a work voice. Yeah.
And the only time my South African accent really comes out at work is when I'm tired. Because I've done a lot of training recordings and stuff like that, and I find that by the end of training recordings, I've got a very strong South African accent versus in the beginning when I've got my proper work voice.
Your posh voice.
My posh voice.
I completely agree. So my mates at work, when I've come back from South Africa, they're like, jeez, your accent is so strong. Like, so strong. So, yeah, I definitely think I've got a work voice. And I've picked up loads of
words.
Lush.
Lush, yeah. We're using Lush a lot at the moment.
Doing my head in is my favourite thing. I'm like, this doing my head in.
Are you mugging me off?
Are you mugging me off? Are you having a laugh?
Are you having a laugh?
Are you having a fucking laugh? Mugging me off. Lush.
Higher.
Oh my gosh, I say higher all the time. Higher.
Walking into the off license.
I'm trying to think. There's another word that I say often. I mean, to be fair. You're joking me.
So many different things. I do think there are other things though that I've picked up, like listen to a lot more British music.
Yeah,
they're really good about playing local music.
Yes, local music is a big thing.
Pretty much all your radio stations will punt their own music.
Yeah, which I think is amazing.
I think we can all learn a lesson from that. So you do hear, obviously,
you hear like
American pop music or rock music.
South Africa, you hear some South African. Well, Tyler's obviously done very well.
Yeah, obviously she's amazing.
Yeah,
but they really are good at punting local is lacquer for their own music.
But everything are local. Even when you go to a grocery store and you look at a chicken and it tells you where it was farmed. This was farmed in Norfolk, or this was farmed in Hampshire, or wherever the case is. And they really, even like the TV adverts, they really push that whole like buy British, buy local.
Yeah, so they really are good about that.
Yeah.
So I think I'm definitely more exposed to British music.
Yes, agreed.
Good old garage.
I love garage. Storms.
Yeah.
Dave.
It's not garage.
No, it's garage.
That's where you park your car.
Yeah, garage. Craig David, T5.
Yeah, it's so good.
So
Love
good.
it. Right, should we do quick fire things that we've learned since moving into another country? So I'll start. If you're going to move to the UK, the first thing you do, register for your GP.
Yeah.
They will not see you unless you're registered. So if you're really sick, you'll end up going to the ER.
Yeah, register for the GP. Not so much dentist.
No,
Dentists are fine. Dentists are really expensive in the UK, like unholy expensive.
That's why everyone goes to Turkey.
Yeah, well, that's true. I do have a dental plan, thank goodness. But even with a dental plan, like it's disgusting how much dentists are, how expensive it is. You almost like, if you're going back to South Africa for a trip, like wait, go to your dentistry there.
Yeah.
Because it's so much cheaper.
Way cheaper.
Yeah, it's way, way cheaper.
Another one is you'll never be home again.
Yeah.
You're going to be two separated humans. That home is going to be in different places for the rest of your life. If you're in South Africa, home feels like the UK.
If you're in the UK,
home is...
It's okay to have two homes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think that when they move here, or if they move anywhere else, oh, South Africa will always be home, or South Africa is not home anymore. This is my... And it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to choose. Yeah. You don't have to choose. You can have two homes. But I like that. I completely agree. And when you're in one place, you miss the other. And when you're in the other place, you miss the one.
Exactly.
Okay. Your friends become your family. So, and I think that's really important. Your family's far away, so your emergency contacts are your friends. If shit hits the fan, moving, like we both helped each other move because you don't have, yeah. I mean,
we keep moving.
Yeah, not pointing any fingers, but yeah, just like small things are like helping your friends move. You know,
they're your witnesses when you need
your
a witness.
witnesses.
They're your emergency contacts. They are your support structure if things go wrong.
Yes.
Or when things go right.
Exactly. They really do become your family.
Keep right on the underground.
Keep right on the underground. If you're keeping left, you got to be moving. You got to be running.
They will push you out of the way.
You will get pushed. I have potentially... I don't push. I just, sorry, can you please move? Because I'm running... fast walking down the stairs. Always keep right. You have to make friends as an adult. Mm-hmm. You have to. If you're moving here, doesn't matter what age, at some stage, because there are a lot of South Africans here, let's be honest. So you always know somebody like, oh, this person I knew a couple of years back. But at some stage, even when you go to work, you are going to make friends. Yeah. You're going to have to put yourself out there.
You have to actively put yourself out there.
You have to actively put yourself out there.
And build a new community, because you potentially coming with no community.
We actually know somebody that went on Tinder for friends.
Oh, yes.
And I think those friends are actually they came to her wedding, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But so you have to put yourself out there. It's uncomfortable, but you have to put yourself out there.
Exactly. I think another really important thing, don't compare to South Africa. Well, the obvious one that you're going to compare is the exchange rate.
Yes, don't.
That will just make you sad. But everything else, it's just not worth it. They're two distinct places that are both equally amazing.
If you're going to come in comparing it, I think you're setting yourself up for no success.
Yeah, failure.
There we go. No success. I say no success. You say failure. You know what I mean? You're setting yourself up for failure if you're going to be comparing everything. So many people do it, and it's so toxic.
Yeah.
We've already said invest in decent shoes. Mm-hmm. Shoes are super important. Always carry a shopping bag with you.
Oh yes, carry bag.
A canvas, and you will invest in canvas carry bags. Canvas carry bag, because you don't want to be spending money on the shopping bag, the plastic shopping bag, and also it's bad for the environment. So always carry a shopping bag, because you never know where you'll need it.
Exactly. You will always pick out South African accents no matter where you go. You walk down the street. Is that person South African? Yeah, I think they're South African.
But you always say that as well. Like I always say to John, or John will be like, yeah, South Africans. You're like, yeah, South Africans.
And surprisingly large amounts of Afrikaans. You can't really know about people here, because there's always an Afrikaans person somewhere.
It was so random. I think you might have been. We were at the car boot sale up in Chiswick, and literally I was standing next to an Afrikaans couple. I'm like, what is this world? You know what I mean? Like at a car boot sale at 9:00 on a Sunday morning. So yes, you always pick up a South African. You will invest in a good Hoover, aka vacuum. I think it's really important, because 8 out of 10 times you're going to be living in a carpeted house.
Yeah.
So
everything is carpeted.
Everything is carpet. So invest in a good Hoover.
Agreed. Not everything needs to be ironed.
No, it does not.
Or buy things that just don't need to be ironed.
And you can wear jeans multiple times before they need to be washed.
I mean, do you wash your jeans?
No, I actually don't.
Apparently you're supposed to freeze your jeans.
Somebody was telling me that.
Not wash them.
You're supposed to freeze them and then they hold the shape. But how do you like fold them up and freeze
I don't
them?
quite know what the freezing method is.
I'm going to try it.
Yeah, feedback.
I'm actually totally going to try it. Yes. And you'll learn how many times to wear your clothes because you're doing all your own washing and ironing and not everything needs to be ironed. I agree with
You can
you.
get a steamer. That's what we've got.
Yeah, we got a steam and also like it's in the bedroom. So if you really need to iron it. I don't remember the last time I ironed or steamed anything.
And even though, so I've actually weaponized incompetence in ironing. I've refused to learn how to do it because I just don't think it's a skill that I need in my life. So Blaine is the steamer in our house because
John does that as well.
He does a really good job.
John had to literally watch a video on how to iron when we first moved here.
Yeah.
It's like shocking.
I don't know how to, so he's better than me.
Yeah, there you go. You can iron your stuff. Walking is actually very good for your mental health.
Yes.
Here they promote walking. Walk when you're happy, walk when you're sad, walk when you're anxious, and I'll get behind it.
And I also think there's just so many lovely places to go walk along
So
the
many,
river. You can
yeah.
go to the parks. You have to walk everywhere.
You gotta walk everywhere.
The pubs.
Pubs, important.
Very important.
That was a good episode.
It
I
was-
enjoyed
it was
that.
fun.
Oh, I enjoyed that. I laughed. I have not laughed like that in ages. So I guess that's us for this week.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like,
Subscribe.
hashtag,
And follow.
share with your friends.
Yeah.
Tell
please,
people
that's the
about
big
us.
one.
Yeah, please share with your friends. Comments are always welcome. Feedback is always welcome. And we'll see you guys soon.
See you next week.
See you later. Bye.